Welcome back. Thank you for staying with the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. In day 2 of the murder trial of Amber Geiger, it was revealed that Botham Jean was alive when officers and paramedics arrived on the scene, but he did not communicate. It was also established that while Geiger first called 911, she was not seen in the subsequent body cam video helping Botham Jean. Earbuds were found next to Botham Jean, suggesting he may have had them on at the time of the shooting. Geiger has previously told investigators she saw a large silhouette in the dark apartment. The body cam video showed that Jean's TV and laptop were on that night, emitting light. Geiger's toxicology reports taken on the night of the shooting came back negative for drugs or alcohol, a detective testified. A detective who tested both Geiger's and Jean's keys to enter the apartment found Geiger's key made the lock flash red, meaning it didn't work, while Jean's key made the lock flash green. Prosecutors in the murder trial focused on a series of text exchanges she shared with a partner at the time whom she had been having a sexual relationship with, to question her defense that she was fatigued from work on the night she fatally shot Botham Jean. The lead prosecutor said that the pair was texting each other hours before the shooting, including one message in which Geiger said she was, quote, super horny today, end quote. Details of that night continued with other testimony in Dallas on Tuesday, including from the 911 operator who took a call from Geiger and a police officer's body cam video from inside Jean's apartment as officers tried to render life-saving aid. Meanwhile, attorney Mary Francis is paying close attention to the high-profile case of Amber Geiger, accused of murdering St. Lucia native Botham Jean. The attorney says she cannot help but note the treatment of the case of this police killing as compared to cases of police killings right here in St. Lucia. Attorney Mary Francis is hoping that justice will be served in the case of the former Dallas police officer accused of murdering St. Lucia native Botham Jean. She says she, like many others, has monitored the progress of the high-profile case in Dallas, Texas, including the racial undertones. But as an attorney and coordinator of the National Center for Legal Aid and Human Rights, Francis says she cannot help but notice the difference in how the wheels of justice turn in this matter as compared to police shootings in St. Lucia.
I am hoping that justice will be delivered in this matter, knowing the, what should I say, the racial factor involved in such police killings in the U.S. We know that the U.S. There are many cases of black men being killed by police officers, agents of the state, and justice was not delivered in some of those cases. So on this occasion, I'm really hoping that justice will be delivered. But of more greater interest to me is the swiftness in which the trial is now taking place. 1 year, and the trial has commenced this week, I think. And compare that to St. Lucia, where you have had police killings, and we have 7-8 years, nothing happened.
She drew attention to the case of Arnold Joseph. The 17-year-old student was fatally shot by police on the 22nd of May at the intersection of Chaussee and Lepansi Road. According to a police statement released after the fatal shooting, officers attached to the Special Services Unit, SSU, whilst on patrol on that day, received information regarding a suspicious motor vehicle at Reclamation Grounds, Castries. The release said that responding officers made attempts to stop a white Toyota Lancer, but to no avail. The police also said the motor vehicle in question ventured through one-way streets about the city, contravening traffic regulations. During an attempt to apprehend the individuals on the vehicle, one individual was fatally shot, whilst a second was non-fatally injured, and a third was arrested without injury.
We heard the police authorities saying that they were doing further investigation on the gun which was discovered near the scene of the shooting, And we have heard nothing so far.
Francis says while the U.S. has its issues with its justice system, it at least has prosecutions, something which she says St. Lucia needs to do more of to ensure that everyone has access to justice. The family of Botham Jean is hoping for justice for their slain 26-year-old. Amber Geiger's defense attorneys are painting a picture of an upstanding former officer making what they call a mistake. Jean family attorneys have acknowledged that getting a white police officer convicted for the killing of an unarmed black man will be a tall order. We want to hear from you. Do you think Amber Geiger will be convicted following this murder trial, which is expected to last 2 weeks?
Yeah, you know, looking at that case, I still believe a lot of drama. I still believe there's a lot of drama to come. I would be very happy if justice is served this time around, but I still doubt it. I still doubt it.
So you feel she's not going to be convicted from what you see?
I still doubt it, because when you look at all the drama around it and all the excuse they have had and all what has happened to try and make her get away from it, I doubt it. But I'm praying to God that it will happen, because nothing is impossible.
No, I don't think she's going to be convicted.
Why?
Because they will find some excuse, because at first they had said that there was drugs in his apartment, which everyone knows is a lie. There could never have been drugs in his apartment. So with their top level lawyers, and so I'm sure they're going to find some reason to not to set her free, because remember, she's an officer of the law and they are protected some way somehow. But anyway, he needs justice.
No, I don't think she'll be convicted, because you know, in the United States already, all the things that's going on about the racism and so on. So I don't think, unfortunately, I don't think she may be convicted. I think Amber will walk free, because you know, the white is for the white, the black is for the black. Yo kay bay Madame la pièce, yo kay me Madame la sou, Madame Blanc, yo kay toujours pour mériter c'est pour mériter, yo kay toujours pour mériter. So makakwe yo kay bay Madame la pièce.
Do I think she's going to be convicted? I don't think so at all. You know, the way the system works in the US, I don't think there is any way that she'll be convicted. She's a police officer. It always works on police officers, and against a black man from the Caribbean, not at all. So I think it's going to be a walk away for Amber Geiger.
Those were your views on the Amber Geiger murder trial. A failing grade of 2 out of 10 was handed down to the Owen King EU Hospital following a recent walkthrough by the European Union Commission's Director General for International Cooperation and Development. Almost a decade after providing the nation with above 40 million euros for the development of the island's health sector, the EU Commission's Director General says as one of the biggest investments the EU has made over the years, the vision is to see the hospital fully functional as soon as possible. Solange Alfred tells us more.
Healthcare in St. Lucia is arguably one of the most worrying issues facing the nation. The recent walkthrough of the Owen King EU Hospital by a group of representatives from the European Union Commission, Ministry of Health officials, and Prime Minister Alan Shastney looked to assess the current state of affairs at the hospital. Following the walkthrough, EU Commissioner Director General Stefano Manservisi was questioned by members of the press about his level of satisfaction with the hospital from a scale of 1 to 10. A meager 2 out of 10 was bestowed on the OK EU Hospital, explained by Manservisi as only receiving the grade due to the 2 operational facilities at the hospital.
In the scale of out of 10, if I put 10, they fully function at the hospital, I will put 2, because there is only 2 sections which are working. And therefore, you know, it's not a question of satisfaction, it's a question of simply the fact, is the hospital is 10, then there are dialysis and the physiotherapy, which is working, therefore satisfaction is 2, because this is working. But, you know,
a fixed timeline for the complete transitioning from the Victoria Hospital to the OK EU Hospital could not be given by the Prime Minister.
But unfortunately, every time that we have actually put a date and we're actually moving in, we encounter a different problem. So 8 months ago, 9 months ago, the air conditioning system broke down. Now, There's two issues to that. One, you have to get it fixed. The company that was being used, if I'm not misunderstanding, does no longer exist. So we found a new company that's bought over the company, and that company now has agreed that they would help us put in a new system. We then found an additional set of people that are allowing us to get it operational within the next 2 months. We were about to move some other departments in here, and when we did the testing of the electrical, the breakers kept failing. So again, the breakers were customized, so it meant that we had to get them built and send the money off, etc. And that took a period of time. So barring no other impediments, I think that we're on course to do that. Certainly from my office, we have made financial resources not the issue. This is absolute total priority. We have regular meetings in terms of keeping updated on where we are in terms of the overall transition.
Meanwhile, the EU Commissioner Director General said the European Union remains completely neutral as to the structure of governance for the Owen King European Hospital. The most pressing matter for the EU, he says, is to see the hospital at full functionality and working in the best interest of the St. Lucian people.
We are watching this debate. These are choices which are for the national authorities. I mean, simply, we deliver, let's say, a product worth 45 million in the interest of the healthcare universal coverage as much as possible of the citizens of St. Lucia. What we would like to see is that is realized. Then the way in which this is done through fully public management, PPP, privatization, etc., we can give our suggestions, our experiences, but this is a decision which must be taken by the national authorities. On this, we are totally neutral on this. But the important is that the hospital must fulfill the reason why European taxpayers have spent 45 million. And taxpayer to taxpayers, I mean, citizen to citizens. You know, the solidarity is this. We supported this operation in order to help the citizens of St. Lucia.
There have been objections on the part of the opposition and members of the public to the government's announced plan to pursue a public-private partnership arrangement for the OKEU hospital. Manservisi said the interest of the EU is to be sure that regardless of the model of governance chosen, the hospital's services are delivered to the people of St. Lucia in an affordable manner. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Sola Alfred.
3 adverse weather systems are currently in the Atlantic. Forecaster Andre Joye says although none of the systems pose an immediate threat to St. Lucia, they are being monitored closely for any change in trajectory. Solange Alfred reports.
Any category of a storm should not be taken lightly. The island has braved its fair share of adverse weather systems, but of late, for the most part, the island has been spared the full brunt of hurricanes and tropical storms. But the call is still being made by the Met Services for people to remain vigilant for any developments regarding impending bad weather. Director of Met Services Andre Joye says that 3 storms are being monitored closely. However, as it stands, St. Lucia is not in the path of danger.
There are 3 tropical storms in the area, Tropical Storm Jerry, Karen, and Lorenzo. We have Tropical Storm Lorenzo that formed very far from us, close to the African coast, and it's about 2,000 miles away from us. Moving towards us, but we're expecting on the present track, the models are showing that it will move north of us. It is a strong tropical storm, and we're expecting that any day now it would be a hurricane.
Joye says the probability that any of the storms could merge is highly unlikely. However, the director of Met Services says the trends of adverse weather has shown more ferocious storms with winds and rains able to cause catastrophic damage.
The prediction was that the hurricanes would be more intense, and we're expecting Lorenzo to become a major hurricane in due time. Yes, the heat from the ocean, and some could put it down as climate change. But the projections was that the hurricanes would be more intense. We saw some of that 2 years ago at Maria and Irene, I think. Yes, over Dominica.
The 5-day track for Lorenzo projects the tropical storm will move north of St. Lucia with a low chance of affecting the island. Juahi urges members of the public to be reminded the hurricane season is currently still in full effect and precautionary measures should be in place for any eventuality. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Sola Jalford.
This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us. There's much more coming up after the break.